Hey there, Fro Nation. This week we are at Alan's Camera of allenscamera.com fame to record with none other than Mr. Jaleel King. Yeah, he wheels his wheelchair around. He's got his camera. He's got everything strapped to it. He gets some really amazing photos. You need to check him out. Actually, you're going to listen to him during this Raw Talk. It's a very, very, very good one. And there's a lot of different special words to listen to this week. One of them is really my favorite. You're going to have to listen to almost the ending to hear what that secret phrase is for you guys to put out on Twitter and Facebook and wherever else you want to put it. But here's a little side note. For the ladies out there, if you're looking for a guy that you can push around, you may want to call Jaleel King. So give him a call. He's looking, he'll take you out. He'll do that. But also, don't forget, there's one thing that we did different. We had some cool ideas after we stopped recording. There's actually bonus audio after the ending. There's some bonus audio that you can listen to that is giving Jaleel some ideas for blogging and how he can help others and create some really cool things. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then I'll just tell you that this week, well, we're brought to you by allenscamera.com because we're actually there at Alan's Camera of allenscamera.com. So that's where we're sitting. They let us pick up a corner here and record and do all of that good stuff. Thank BBO Poker Table. I keep thanking them. I should probably thank them when we get back to using my table again. Vanguard, all those good guys. And don't forget that the FroKnowsPhoto Beginner Guide to Getting Out of Auto is up there on the website. You can digital download it, or you can get the DVD version of it, where you'll get a DVD and a digital file on disc. You'll get both of them sent to you. Cool. Don't forget about the holiday contest. Still going on. It's 40 prizes and... What was it? 40 prizes, $7,000 worth of stuff. And that's all I'm going to push for now. Actually, no, I won't. The T-shirts. There's holiday sales. And now it's time to get into Raw Talk. I said you have a snap bar.
Yeah.
I haven't. Do you use it with your point and shoot?
Yeah. Only thing I don't like is because of where the battery sits, you got to undo it for the you got to undo it to get to the memory card and the battery.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that sucks, but it's not the snap bar's fault. So
no, it's funny. The first time I got that snap bar and they sent it to me, I couldn't figure out how to connect the connector to the strap because the instructions are non-existent.
Nah, it's it's funny, but once you get it, it works. And I mean, I like it. For me, I needed something around my neck, so
yeah. Yeah, so we are talking to Jaleel King, correct?
Yes.
It's the King part?
The King.
So he rolled his way in here today, if I can say that. Can I say that?
Yes, you can say that.
I know, I did. You know, it was funny. When I was living in my loft in the city, and I'm walking back to my loft, and I hear, yo, Fro, and I turn around, it's you driving, and I'm like, Jaleel, how are you driving? Your legs don't work.
I got, like, metal legs for the car.
Do you have metal legs for the car?
Yeah, I got metal legs. So portable hand controls in the car. So, you push the brake and pull the gas. So,
do you have to go through special approval or training with any of that stuff?
Technically, no, but they do have, I guess for somebody who had maybe a more severe disability, it would be better. This way you can figure out what exactly you need as far as equipment is concerned. But for me, it was basic, but I did go through a special training at Moss Rehab, but I mean, by the time I did that, I was already driving. So
yeah, you would drive there every day.
Yeah,
to get to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
What? Okay, so are you paralyzed?
Yes, I'm considered an incomplete paraplegic
instead of complete.
Yeah.
So where it's waist and down?
Yeah, waist down, and then like once you get down to the waist, it's like it splits off. So like the left side, I can feel all the way down to my ankle, but on the right side, it's one of these things where I don't feel anything, but I can feel this tingly sensation that shoots down my leg sometimes.
On the opposite, the side that you don't, so like a phantom pain?
Yeah.
Really? Is that something that one day they may be able to reverse?
That I'm not sure about. I really, stuff like that, I don't think about it. More so because I've been disabled so long that the damage is really done.
Yeah.
So, whatever they could do would probably be minimal.
So, do you want to go into what happened?
So, when I was 8 years old, I got shot, and when I lived in South Philadelphia, and subsequently because of the gunshot wound, I became paralyzed. I was shot with a sawed-off shotgun.
That's not good.
Nah,
it's definitely not good.
Not at all.
So so you went into that. That happens. What you're in a hospital. What are you feeling? Do they tell you right away that you're not going to walk?
I remember the doctor coming in, and you know, part of the thing was that I was out for 3 days. So I got shot on July 1st, and I woke up on July 4th. And
just in time for the fireworks.
Exactly. The fireworks actually woke me up because I could hear the fireworks.
Were you in a coma?
I was in a pseudo coma. I don't remember exactly, but I don't think they expected me to wake up, let alone live, as long as I did. Yeah, the damage was really significant.
So you got shot in the back.
Yeah, with a sawed-off shotgun, and the whole thing is that I took the full impact of the blast. So it wasn't like I took
Strays.
A little bit of it. I took the actual full impact. I actually still have some of the buckshot in me too. So some of the lead shots are still in me.
What? Just a random act of
stupidity more than anything.
Yeah.
The guy decided, basically what ended up happening was we were outside watching somebody light up firecrackers for us. And I guess for whatever reason, he decided he was annoyed by the sound of the firecrackers or whatever. And he said something along the lines of, if you want to hear something loud, then listen to this, and brandished the shotgun. And I saw the shotgun, but in my head,
and he shot it.
Well, he shot it, but like before he shot it, I started running. And I don't know why, but for some reason, I felt like I was running in one direction, but I was really running
the wrong way. And in my head. And the last thing I heard was the shot go off, and I heard myself yell, and then everything was black.
That's not good.
No, not at all. So we'll get past that part. That sucks.
Yeah.
To begin with. How'd you deal with it growing up?
I took it all in stride at first until people started telling me what I can and cannot do. No kid in their right mind likes that, but for me specifically, it was one of these things. Is this, this was all new to me, so having people tell me no wasn't an option for me. And I had a very vocal mother who refused to let anyone tell me no as well, so that kind of helped a lot.
And then how'd the camera come about? Because you are a professional photographer now.
The camera came about by the time I moved out onto my own. One of my mom's friends actually saw that I had an interest in photography, and he basically had an old Canon AE1 that he passed down to me. And from there, it was just one of those things that I fell in love with. But I never made it it was more of a hobby than it was a profession for me. And when I thought about making it a profession during the film days, I thought it was too competitive versus now. So, I get into it once it's all competitive. Sure. But, so everything I did, photography was always an underlying situation. And what ended up happening is the last thing I went to school for was video production. And while I loved it, the opportunities weren't there for me, specifically living in Philadelphia, and then also on top of the disability.
Well, I don't know why they wouldn't give you a Steadicam. I mean, you're already in a wheelchair. You could just roll forward and roll back. Who needs to get the rails?
But, at the time, Steadicams were still very expensive. So, you know what I mean? It was one of those things, and most, when you're starting off doing video production, you start off doing grunt work. And for me, they kind of looked at what you can't do versus what you can do. And so it was just a very difficult situation for me. And what ended up happening is one of my friends that I went to school with, one of my best friends, Godfrey Tabaris, he kept me in the loop with everything. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
And what ended up happening is we were trying to develop a reality television show for a disabled music producer. And on the one day that we decided to go out with him, he was having a photo shoot done by a photographer, Kelly Taruso, who was living in Philly at the time. And what I saw her do was she came out, she had a light pack, her strobe, softbox, and her camera, and she took a picture. And it was the first time I've ever seen anybody shoot like that before, from my standpoint. And I saw that, and it was just like a holy sugar honey iced tea moment. And from there, it just reignited me all over again, because this was something that I could do. I didn't need a whole team of people to do anything. And if I didn't have it, if I had a team, great. And if I didn't, I can still do this. And it was something for me personally that I wasn't going to be judged on based on my wheelchair. So it was one of these things. People don't see my disability first. They see my
photo.
work. Yeah, they see the work first. And it was one of those things. And so, the next step was having to get a real digital SLR. And, they were still pricey at the time. And what ended up happening is my friend Godfrey came through again and got me a job at MTV for a week. And I held on to that check for like 3 months because I knew I was going to use that check to get my first camera. And I ended up getting a 30D as my first camera body.
Nice. What are you shooting now?
Now I've moved up to a 1D Mark IV.
Right. You haven't switched up to the X yet.
No, I'm too broke for the X.
That's all right. I mean, if you look at it was Reuters put out their information about the top photos of the year, and I think the camera used most by their photographers is the Mark IV.
Yeah.
Is the Mark IV.
I still love my Mark IV, but it was a significant jump because I went from a 40D to the Mark IV. So it was a huge leap, financially and I can't even get the word.
Technologically.
There we go. It was a huge leap, but I love it, but I don't know if I would do that again. I was a little mad about the price drop after the 1DX came out. I was like, ugh.
Yeah. So when you're going to do jobs, like what are you most passionate about when you're shooting?
I started off doing street photography, and so I'm still very passionate about that. It's just something about that connects to everything else that seems to be prolific in my shooting, whether it's portraits or weddings. It's something about that connection that I have with just random moments that I seem to love the most. So that would be one of the things that I still love to do, just because I don't have to think about it. I just do it, and and I capture moments that are just for me, or and other people if they like what I do.
Now, do you find that you're doing a lot of black and white more?
I recently purchased the Sony RX100, and with that camera, yes, I tend to like the black and white a lot more. But I have a few different color sets, a couple of presets that I've put together on my own. So it depends on what it is specifically, whether I want to do the color or black and white. But I've always had an affinity for black and white.
So what obstacles have you had to overcome when it comes to shooting?
A lot of it is getting to location, and also setting up lights, specifically just because, once you get it up, moving it around, early on, before a lot of, technology has really skyrocketed since, I decided to become a professional photographer, or, taking on the role of being a professional photographer. So a lot of the difficulty was lighting, because, once you set it up, you have to make adjustments depending on what's going on. For me, if I have it set up, it's difficult, and, having to go back and making adjustments, and then having to get the lights positioned back in the same position again, it was very difficult. And now with some of the technologies like the Canon 600EX, I can control, I have more radio control now, or the Pocket Wizards with the Flex TT5s and Mini TT1s. They've allowed me to actually be free of having to go back and touch the stuff, because I can do everything from the camera, basically.
Yeah, which helps you out a lot. Now, I've seen that you've modified your wheelchair a lot. Mm-hmm. What kind of modifications have you done?
Well, recently what I've tried to do is I wanted to do more lighting in relation to my street photography, and I just thought it would be just kind of fun to have something that's just a little bit different. So what ended up happening is we got a Manfrotto boom stand, and we removed the legs and are currently looking for ways to modify it to stay attached to the wheelchair. And so right now we've got that going on with a few super clamps and a magic arm and some other, some tape and glue and all kinds of other things to keep it going. And it's working so far, but I'm still, dealing with stability issues and things like that. But so far, I like the overall results that I'm getting with it. Yeah. So it's a matter of practice now.
I mean, I know that you wear the Black Rapid, but the only problem is if you hang it to the left or you hang it to the right, it's going to start bouncing off the wheelchair.
Yeah.
You have it sit on your lap.
Yeah.
Have you thought about developing anything for people similar?
I don't know. And, the funny thing about it is that no matter what, you still have the weight. So if it goes any higher for me, it literally with the Black Rapid, it kind of sits on my lap. And I think I kind of like that because I don't have to think about it or worry about it falling necessarily. And, if you attach a 70 to 200 on that thing, it's even crazier. So any higher, it probably would be, a little bit more weight, weigh me forward than anything, And so for me, it's okay. For a smaller camera, I have the, what is it? Like it's a little mini Black Rapid, and that works for a smaller camera, which sits up higher. But I think the way it sits right now is probably fine.
So when it comes to shooting weddings, is weddings what you're most passionate about? Is that what you like doing the most?
I enjoy them for the challenge. It's the workload that I'm getting used to on the back end with the post-production and trying to, and also the time, trying to get everything done in a timely manner as well. For most creatives, a lot of times procrastination is our best friend and enemy. And but it's not even that as much as just the workload, because I think a lot of people have this assumption with wedding photography, especially when you're trying to give a better product overall. That you shoot the images and everything is supposed to be great, and it's not. And if you shoot 2,000 images, that's 2,000 images that you have to go through, and you got to break them all down, and then you have to upload those so clients see. Then you still have to do the album design, and when you're starting out, you really can't afford to be the guy who sends all your work out to have it all color corrected and all those things, or have the album designed by somebody else, and kind of keep doing. I would love to be in that stage, but then I almost ask myself, then is it really my touch on it?
Yeah, and I've had the problem, like, I don't want to send my work out to be edited. It's my style comes from how I edit. Now, it's probably hard to find somebody to do it the way that I would want them to do it, but what I could see is if you do a lot of weddings, you send the keepers, the ones that you pick, and you have them go through. They do the party stuff that you weren't going to do much to anyway. Just be like, here, make that look good,
right? And
then for this stuff, get it somewhere, and then give it back to me with the changes, and I'll see what I can do myself.
Right, exactly. And I mean, but that's the only thing I kind of wonder sometimes, is that once you kind of let it go, is it really yours? You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's one of those funny things, and so. I don't think I want it to not be mine, in a sense.
No, I hear that, and I've been through the same situation. But here's how I feel with weddings: anything that you can do to speed up your workflow, to get the work back quicker, that's going to save you time. It's that dilemma in the head. Are you giving up too much of your creative control? Is that the right thing, Ari? Creativity. I guess creativity. Well, as you give up a little bit of your creativity, is it worth it? And to me, there's some things that I do in weddings that I wouldn't do in my own work.
Right.
And because I consider a wedding, it's my work, but it's not really my work because I'm doing it for them.
Right.
I'm not shooting for myself. I still won't crop, but I guess when it goes into an album, sometimes you have to crop things to fit into a certain album. So that comes down to the album design. You take that creative control and you do that stuff.
Well, even when you shoot, like, you said you're doing it for them, but at the end of the day, you're still the creative, and they hire you for that reason. So you're still putting your mark on it, even if you're doing it for them. They've hired you because they like your style.
Yeah.
And honestly, those are the best clients because they just kind of let you do you. They don't, fuss about anything. They know why they got you because you're a professional. You're going to come in and you're going to do your thing. So I love it when I have clients who just kind of let me do that. And even when it comes to portraits, I love that when I have a client that says, Jaleel, I trust you. And I feel like I get the best photos from them, and I'm able to give back. And it gets to the point where you have to make a choice because you have so many awesome moments from them that you don't know what you want to give them sometimes. And those are, that's what I said. That's part of the thing that I love about this is that at any moment, it's a different moment. You know what I mean? And it's kind of weird to say that, but there's no two shoots that are alike. You know what I mean? Because there's no two people that are necessarily alike. So even if you shot the same person twice, you almost can get a different reaction from them. So it's just an always changing kind of thing.
Yeah, what you said there with they let you do what you do. That's the best type of client. Well, sometimes it's the best type of client. Holy crap, Rusty just walked in. I'm sorry for everybody out there. I just wanted to say hi to Rusty, one of the greatest AP photographers ever in the area. He just walked in. Actually, oh, we're at Alan's camera. I'm sorry. I would have done that in the intro, Ari. Sorry, Jaleel. We'll come back to this. I just have to go off on a side note on Rusty. Rusty is one of those guys that gave back to me when I first started. And I was 15 years old shooting the Flyers, sitting on the Flyers bench before the game, the 4:30 in the afternoon when the place is empty. And he would sit there and talk photography with me and help me with settings when I didn't know what I was doing. So that's kind of cool to just see him walk in the door because he basically gave back to me, which showed me that you have to give back to photographers, and that's exactly what we're doing with FroKnowsPhoto.com. But it's cool to see Rusty. Have you ever seen Rusty?
No, I don't. Well,
I know we got to wheel you around to see him.
I got to turn around and see him, but but it's funny that you talk about giving back, and a lot of what's kind of transpired was because photographer Michael Allenbach had saw something in me, and decided to shoot a small video about me, and that video went viral. It went a lot further than we imagined it going. You know what I mean? So I definitely want to make sure I send out love and support for him.
We'll put that on the podcast page. We'll put the video right below it.
Definitely. And he's at tattoobrides.com.
Yeah.
just for people to check him out because he's also a phenomenal photographer.
Is he in Philly?
Yeah, basically he's in Philly, but he's up in I think East Norriton, like up near Norristown.
Sure.
But he travels, and he's an absolutely amazing person and a wonderful human being, and but it's people like that help keep me grounded, and I don't know. It's one of those weird things. I've had a lot of great people around me once I've kind of started figuring out what I needed to do and who I needed to reach out to, and who've helped me and supported me in a lot of ways that I never really thought to help get me here. You know what I mean? Who weren't afraid to kind of tell me when something looked like shit, so to say, in relations to my work.
Yeah.
So that I can go back and make improvements, just like you said, with your guy. And I think that's also important, is having people who are honest with you.
Oh yeah.
Because there's no point in shooting and never making any kind of progress.
And I think we've seen a lot of this with digital photography and cell phones and people posting on Facebook, and all you ever see is, oh, that's the greatest photo ever, and you look at it and you go, no, that's a piece of crap.
Not.
And most people are afraid to say things.
Yeah.
But corrective criticism, if done properly, which I still hate it, I don't take it very well at all, but when it's done properly and you, look, I can see what you were going for, but you missed it slightly. Try doing this.
Right.
It's just, there's a way of doing it. Instead of saying, I don't like it, it sucks.
Well, no, I don't think you should say, no, I don't like it, you suck. But, I think that it's kind of goes back to what you said, you don't like it. And the whole thing is that while you're trying to do something nice, you'll have people who, for all intents and purposes, are a little bit more sensitive than they ought to be, kind of take it the wrong way. And the problem then is, would you rather I give it to you now or have a client give it to you later? You know what I mean? And then that's part of that, and even within social media, you almost wonder, well, even with clientele, mediocrity is the new good enough.
Yeah, which isn't good.
Which is not good. And so, people never understand why they spend the money or they pay us what they pay us in order to do what we do. But it's the assumption of the cost versus the reward. And, people never know how much they love something until it's not there.
Yeah.
It's the whole idea of somebody's house burning down, or there's a storm that destroys somebody's home. What they go back and look for is not the clothing, it's the photos.
Yeah.
And that's the the thing that kind of burns me with people that that they don't understand is that even me, when I started doing photography, a lot of the things that I learned the most of, and I think I was an okay photographer film days. You just never could see it.
Yeah.
You were always happy when you really got something good out of it, which was cool. But when digital came around, I had a better understanding of what I was shooting. I go back and look at some of my old stuff, and I still see that I still have a lot of similar ways that I shoot, but now I have a better understanding of it. And the problem was that I got lazy for a little bit with my work, and the only thing I had was it was all on the computer. Well, the thing about putting your work and shooting on a computer on your cell phone is the only person that sees it is you.
Yep.
And even then, if you put it on the internet, it still is not the same as when you have it printed and you have it in your hands and it's something that's tangible. And I didn't realize this until I took some photos. I have some family friends that live up in Long Island, and they have a cabin up in Hawley, PA, and on this place called Lake Whitney. And I took some photos while we were there, and I had these photos for about a year. And I decided that I was going up their house for something, and I had got a bunch of prints made up. And the prints came the day that I was leaving, and honestly, Jared, I wanted to cry when I saw these photos, because while I knew I took those photos, I couldn't believe I took those photos. And I didn't get little photos, 8x10s. I got like 16 by 20s, 11 by 14s and stuff. 11 by 14 still isn't that big, but for the time that when I did it, it was huge to me. And I wanted to cry because it was something that had way more impact to me, seeing these pictures big and seeing their reactions to these photos that I didn't have before. So now I'm much more on printing. Getting things tangible.
And I can say that too. In my loft, I had the whole place, all the walls were covered with big prints, 30 by 48s and 40 by 60s, and I can't wait to do that at my new place. Now it's going to be a little harder. I don't have as many walls like that. But when you get a book, those Adorama Pix books that I get done, to hand that to somebody and they sit there, opposed to handing somebody an iPad. Like, an iPad was fun for a minute, but the problem was when it first came out and you handed it to somebody, they were like, cool, it's an iPad, this is amazing.
Yeah.
They weren't looking at your photos. So when you hand somebody a book and they can feel it in their hands, they can turn the pages, they can look at big photos, it's so much better than just looking at them on a computer screen.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, again, it's one of those things that people don't understand. So, it's one of these things where I think we get into this thing where you have to manage expectations, but you also have to educate people, because a lot of people really don't have experience with a professional photographer, as much as going to, some place like Sears or Walmart or one
Sure.
of those, mall spots, and it's a different experience altogether. No matter how you look at it, it's a different experience. And the people the people that I've, the clients that I've had have turned into friends, and the whole thing with them is that the experience that they've had with me has been a whole different thing in relations to, they don't even want to go to a place like that to get their photos done now, because
Right.
they understand the value in it. And I think that's part of, a lot of what I love to do is being able to present somebody that, it's the emotional connection that I love people having with the work that we do, or the emotional connection that I have to other photographers' work.
Yeah. And I saw that this weekend you did Help Portrait. Were you in a different place this year?
Yes. Well, last year I was in the same place I did last year, which was Inglis House. And what ended up happening, Help Portrait has grown significantly since we first did it.
Yeah.
And the first time I did it was with you. What?
2 years ago.
Was it 2 years
2
ago?
or 3.
I think it was 3 years ago now, maybe even longer, because I think I went Chosen 300 twice. And then we did 4 years ago now.
Was it really?
Yeah. Well, how time flies.
Yeah.
But but that had an impact on me, and I loved doing that. And because I got to meet people, and I don't know, there was a lot of little things that I noticed that I needed to work on when I went to Help Portrait, from a personal standpoint, more than a photographic standpoint. And what ended up happening is that it's grown, and so when it grew last year, I called Inglis House, and they were happy to have us, and so we had a whole bunch of photographers down there last year. This year it wasn't so many, but it still didn't change the amount of people that were there, but we still had a lot of fun. And the people who came out, the photographers who came out to help out were an absolutely amazing team, and we got through everything. So
That's cool.
Shout out to everybody who was at Inglis House.
That was cool. As I know you were there for a long time.
Yeah,
a lot longer than you probably expected.
Yeah, but the residents really appreciated it, and again, the team just stuck through, and we worked it out. And I think it was just more important that the residents enjoyed it.
So when you're out shooting, have you run into, let's see, issues with the wheelchair? Like, have people looked at? Of course, they're going to look at you a little different. But have you missed jobs, or have you gotten jobs because of it? And which is something that
the thing is that I have missed jobs behind it, and I don't think everybody's going to necessarily be vocal about the fact that that's not why they're hiring me. But you get that feeling, because it's just what more could I do outside of offering what I offer, and even in cases where you kind of offer discounts in order to get the job, because let's be honest, there's still a lot that we can learn, and there's it's better to have a job than no job at all in some cases. Again, you manage your expectations when you give discounts, but there was one instance in particular where my cousin had referred me for a wedding to someone, and I set up everything, and we were supposed to meet, and I got an excuse from the bride for why she couldn't meet me. Well, come to find out, it was because of the wheelchair, and her response was something on the lines, if I couldn't meet her at her house, how could I shoot her wedding? And it was a different kind of situation. I try to meet people in areas where I don't want them to have to deal with the wheelchair in a way that, like, if you got to get me up steps, I don't really want you to have to deal with that unless we're dealing with the shoot situation. It's a little bit different. If I'm meeting you, I want you to be relaxed, and I want us to be in an environment where we can all relax, as opposed to kind of just showing up and saying, hey, look, I'm in this wheelchair. So I've been a lot more open about being in a wheelchair, because remember, like I said, I thought that this would be a situation where my work speaks for me more than my disability speaks for me.
Everybody's going to...
But at the end of it, people are still going to look at the fact that I'm in this wheelchair, and it's fine. I have to acknowledge that, not everybody is my client.
Yeah, and I run into, this is totally different. I've got the hair at times, and that I've lost clients because of that. It's not anywhere close to what you have, but I've seen your work. The black and whites that you've done in the city, the inner city stuff, is just incredible.
Thank you.
The stuff just pops off the screen, and I'd love to see some actual prints from that to pop out of the book, but that's all that should matter. And we know that's all that should matter,
Right.
but it doesn't matter, and we know that's not going to change because that's human nature.
It doesn't. I mean, and the thing is that I do a lot of second shooting for weddings more than I do actual weddings.
Mm-hmm.
This year I've had 3 weddings, which was
Do you shoot with Steph?
no, I haven't shot with Steph yet. I'm hoping to. I love her. She's extra sweet. But I do a lot more shooting with my friend Greg Haygood. And, he was one of the first photographers that I second shot with, and it was just one of these situations. He was like, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm not doing an hour. Well, you can come shoot with me with this. I'm like, yeah, I don't really shoot weddings. Oh, it's cool. Just come. And, he taught me a lot in relations to the confidence in myself, the confidence of being able to shoot something like that. And then where I made my mistakes, he corrected me. And from there, I think I've gotten significantly better with my style in relations to shooting weddings. And then the cool thing with shooting him is that, he has no problem helping me out when I needed to. And a lot of the things that he says, like one of the things is, Jaleel, I rock out with you because at any given time, you could sit home and play video games all day long, but you say that's not what you want to do. You want to get out here and do it. And it's hard for me, but it's even harder for you. And to see you still get up every day to want to come out here and do this is just crazy for me. And so that's why I rock out with you. And it's kind of like, I had to stop myself from, getting the tears all up in my eyes, because it kind of meant something to hear somebody say that, and to kind of persevere and struggle through those things that I struggled through. But the funny thing is that when I shoot with him, because people see me rolling around with the camera taking pictures, at the end of the night, I'm the second shooter, but they'll come up, man, you guys did a really good job. Yeah, the main photographer is over there, and oh man, we hardly saw you guys. At the end of the night, people are still very much satisfied with what we do and what I've done, and it's just interesting when I see my photos, in somebody else's albums, and, I'm the second shooter on that thing. It's like, yo, I did that.
Right. No, that's a cool feeling. And your wheelchair's not in any of the pictures.
No, it's not in
it. And now, when you're because of the wheelchair, have you gotten access to things that you may not have gotten, and has it given you a different perspective that other people may not see in your photos?
Nothing that I can say that's really specific. I mean, like, when it comes to weddings, I get access to the front row, so I don't have to fight with people in relations to getting,
Plus, you don't have to worry about sitting down.
No,
to not block people in the back.
Not at all. And so the first dance, I'm always up the front, and then people basically create a path for me. So I get to bully people through, which is kind of funny. But I'm pretty sure it has, but I've not really thought about that, in relations to that. But I'm more than sure it probably has, but like I said, I just can't really think of something specifically. But I think more people are just surprised by the fact that I'm a photographer that has a disability, and a lot of the cool things that's come from the video, and then I was also recently on Strobus, is that there's a lot more photographers that are disabled who are now kind of coming out of the woods to say, hey, I do this too, and they're actually really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the crazy thing about it, is that, when I tell people I'm a photographer and then they see my work, you shot this? Yeah, I shot that. And you shot this? Yeah, I shot that.
Yeah.
I don't show anybody's work that, I don't show work that's not mine.
Right.
Oh, okay. So they're really surprised, and then they're really surprised by the quality of work, because for some people, again, there's people who have cameras, and then there's photographers,
right,
and they kind of assume I'm a person with a camera versus being a photographer.
Which they shouldn't assume that.
No, you shouldn't assume that.
Now, since you've been on Strobist, have you guys created a community of people that are photographers in wheelchairs, and come up with your own logo, and come up with your own website, and come up with the whole branding and marketing for that?
No, I suck at that stuff. I
don't.
I do. You're great at that stuff. I suck at it.
Come on, you guys. I see the logo, man. It's the wheelchair. You get a camera up in there, and it rolls around, and
I thought about that. I wouldn't mind trying to do that with Google Plus's communities. I want to try to start getting more involved with the Google Plus stuff. I kind of like the way that kind of works a little bit. Or even, something, a Facebook group specifically.
Yeah, start a Facebook group over the other one.
Yeah, I don't know. Facebook is, man.
We don't have to go there.
Yeah, but, I definitely would love to have a situation with, with doing it. But again, it's a matter of kind of finding these people and also kind of maintaining those contacts. So if anybody's out there, who has a disability, and definitely I would love to hear from you, and so we can try to get something together going as far as support group is going. Because I even met a photographer who is in I want to say Estonia, who's disabled and does absolutely great work, and it was just like really interesting connecting with him, and so it's always interesting. It was a young girl up in Canada who is an electric wheelchair user who shoots, and she's very good. I told her she was a cheater because her electric wheelchair has a seat that actually lifts her higher.
Oh, really?
So if she needs to get a little higher, she has a little button that she can push to go higher. And I'm like, man, times where I could really use one of those.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if you guys set up a meetup type thing, like once a year, get together in a certain city and try to get funding and people to sponsor. That would be pretty cool.
Oh, that would be actually pretty cool, actually. I think that would be really cool.
So I've seen this setup with the wheelchair. There's the photo. Who took the photo of you out on the street?
My friend Lamar McDaniel took that photo. Yeah, he drags me out the house every so often, and we'll go do some street photography and stuff like that.
Because the picture, for those of you guys who can't see it on the website, is Jaleel's in the wheelchair. He's got the boom arm with the flash up above, and it's just a really cool black and white shot. I love that stuff. I really do love those photos. Where have you been published in certain places?
I've been published in Ideal Magazine, which is a magazine by my friend Zaretha. And what it is basically it's a magazine that deals with disabled issues. So it's an independent magazine. But other than that, let me see. I was published in the Philadelphia Gay News for their a friend of mine, Susie. She does food reviews for the paper sometimes. And there's a few times that I went with her and did that, and so it was published in there. But that's about it.
Where do you want your photography to take you at this point? If you over the next couple of years, where do you want to go with it?
I really would love to. I would love to do some commercial work. I would love to see something on a billboard or something like that. Maybe in some more publications, things of that nature. But I think a lot of that, the aspect of that is that the business side and learning where, the research and the network of people who kind of know what they're doing with those types of things, that kind of help you get your foot in the door at least. Everything else after that is still on you, but having, being able to put my foot in the door someplace would be great. Yeah.
And I was thinking what would be a cool thing, an interesting thing to live a day doing what you're doing. Find another wheelchair, put me in it, go out on a photo shoot and attempt to tag along with you to see what we come up with, film it, put it up there and see what we got.
Oh, that would be fun.
I'm sure that would be some fun. Getting used to, because your camera bag is a backpack, right?
No, I have a what is it, a Think Tank? I want to say the Speed Racer, ironically enough.
Yeah.
But I got the biggest one I could get, and what I do is on the front of my wheelchair, I have like a luggage rack thing.
That goes on the front, right by your feet.
Yeah, and so I've strapped it down that way, and so I have access to it, and it was just the easiest bag to use. But I also have a rolling bag too, and so when I need to take everything, I have that. But it gets strapped to the front. But it was just easier because it has a side grip, and then I have these little Think Tank pouches. Think Tank should sponsor me.
Well, the funny thing about that, we'll send them an email for you. We'll make the connection, because I can make you the connection and
But I got like
stuff.
3 Think Tank bags attached to me right now, and I have one underneath of me and 2 on either side. I have one on either side of me, and so my 70 to 200 often goes into one of the side pouches, and then the bottom pouch is what I use to take my flashes with if I decide to, if I didn't want to take the big bag with me.
Right.
So it's one of these things where you kind of learn to adapt in relations to what you need and making use of what you have.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put out the secret word of the day. We do a secret phrase. We'll do the phrase. We'll do learn to adapt.
Learn to adapt.
Because he just threw out learn to adapt. So on the Twitter, type in RAWtalk at FroKnowsPhoto and let me know that you listen by typing in learn to adapt. On Facebook, put in learn to adapt. Let us know that you did that, and we'll be watching for things like that. So how is it, getting in and changing lenses and all this? I can imagine. Can you tilt forward on this?
Yeah, I can tilt forward. I mean, the thing is it's a funny thing. That was one of the things I was going to say, like with Greg. One of the things that when we shoot, we have this wheelchair that I'm in is like extra light. And so there's been times where, like, we're on terrain that's not exactly conducive for wheelchairs, especially lightweight wheelchairs, and then wheelchairs with, pounds of weight in addition.
Right.
And, we say, it's not a good shoot unless I've fallen out the wheelchair.
Have you done that?
Of course.
And what happened?
We get, we do what, we do what anybody, we get the hell back up. But,
You know
it's
what they
just
need to get you?
mad funny though still.
They need to get you like the Johnny number 5 tracks.
Oh, there's a wheelchair out there that has that.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But that would be kind of. I thought that would be really dope to have for a manual wheelchair, something like that. To have something like that. That would be interesting to have.
I'm sure you could pull it off.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. But that would be funny. But yeah, it's funny. But you get back up. I mean, I've maybe 1 or 2 weddings that I've not fallen out the wheelchair, but everybody else is, more concerned than we're sitting there. Me and him are sitting there cracking the hell up. He's okay. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. You know what I mean? It's just like, but, we're in the midst of doing something. So it's just mad funny. There's a couple of times we had did an engagement shoot in Baltimore, and I fell out the chair near the harbor, and he's like, yeah, you're a little too close to the water now. So it was just like, I got this. So, this is one of those things.
You should have put on a flotation device.
Yeah, I saw that picture of you in the flotation device.
Oh, the swimmies.
Oh, God, that's so funny.
Well, they were fun.
That was hilarious. But you know what? That was a picture that I would take of myself as well, because that was hilarious.
Yeah, why not?
So, absolutely. That's what I say.
So, I mean, falling out of the chair has got to be pretty. You can get hurt, obviously.
Yes.
What? You more susceptible?
I am, because the wheelchair is really light more than anything. I mean, like, I went out for 12-12-12, and the funny, I went downtown to take some pictures, and the funny thing about it is that I didn't realize that it was Wednesday, and then Wednesdays I forgot that you don't have to pay for parking in Center City. So I was down at Rittenhouse, and where the machine is at, it's in cobblestone, apparently.
Yeah.
Somebody thought it was great to put it inside of cobblestone. So I do a Papa Willie.
Well, blame Ben Franklin for putting cobblestone in there in the 1700s.
Yeah, but this is on a sidewalk, man. This is logically, I don't know why they would do it, and it's not even like good cobblestone.
Yeah.
It's like all banged up, and it just looks like a falling habit for anybody who decides to step there to pay for it. And I got over to it. I put my $2 in, and I got stuck, so I had to do a wheelie to back out. Almost thought I was good until I fell straight backwards.
Oh.
So that sucked. The lady was like, "You almost had it," as I'm falling backwards.
Just a random lady on the street?
She was paying. She was going to pay for her. I guess she was at the machine too. And but good thing is I had a couple of people that were out there to help me out. But falling is a part of life. I mean, hell, I'm pretty sure you've probably tripped a few times too.
On the ice.
You know what I mean? But, you do, what anybody does. You get the hell back up and keep moving. And, but the cool thing is that, like, lately a lot of things have been just happening for the universe. And I went into Barnes & Nobles and to look at a couple of books, and the girl who worked there says, "Are you a famous photographer?" I says, "Well, I don't think so, but why?" She says, "I think I saw you in the paper, in the magazine." Well, I was in the paper a couple of months ago. She says, "Oh, maybe that's where I saw." And I just so happened, Rangefinder had did a little snippet of from the video that Mike had did. And they had did a snippet. I didn't know it was going to be there. I showed her that. And she's like, "Well, you're more famous than me." And she's like, "Oh, man." She doesn't know. She made my night. I don't feel like I'm famous, but she made my night because she made me feel good. So even after falling and feeling a slight way about it, I mean, you get up, but it was a little embarrassing. But, you get up and you keep moving. But, it's one of these things. I didn't think about it too much. But you know what? Something like that just kind of made me feel really good. And I don't know why it made me feel good.
Well, that's awesome.
But I just thought it was just really awesome because she was, like, super sweet. So, I just thought that was mad cool. So it's always one of these things. You just never know. You got to keep your head up all the time, even when when it's hard, because, there's other things in your life that kind of come through that kind of make those small things really small, you know what I mean? And kind of make you feel good. But, you won't see them if you keep your head down.
And have you, has it been a struggle? Have there been times it's just like, this sucks?
I think there's always times when you have that, especially when, you're dealing with clients and having people kind of know that you're, in this wheelchair. And it's more so because you feel as though, it's arrogant. Yes, I'm going to admit that it's arrogant to a certain degree to think that, I would have done or could have done a better job than somebody else would have done. And you lose out, especially when you kind of suspect that it's the wheelchair thing. I don't want to think like that. It's almost the same idea of thinking that, somebody didn't hire me because I'm black or some,
No, you're not.
Oh, my God. I can't
It's
believe
a podcast. They can't tell.
They can't tell.
Except if they're watching
I know. Now
the,
they do. Yeah,
the video
right.
part.
But, it's one of those things where I don't want to be, I want to be hired because you like me and you like what I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard when you have those situations or, you want to work with somebody and they don't hire you because of it. And you, in the back of your head, you kind of know. But at the same time, you just kind of got to keep moving. And like I said, the beautiful thing about this is that I don't have to rely on anybody to do good work. I can just do it, and whether it's shooting a box, a bottle, whatever, it's up to me to decide on what I want to do, and and it not be defined by it. I don't want my wheelchair to be I don't want it to define me, nor do I want it to define my work, but it's a very much so a part of me, and
right.
I'm learning how to embrace it and love it for what it is, something that I have no control over. It's just what I do,
and just go for it. You might as well go for it because it is who you are. It's
very much who I am, and it's very much what I have to deal with, and part of that is what it has defined me, but it's defined me in a good way, and the challenges that I meet, and it's those challenges that have helped me kind of deal with that. One thing I remember, I did a workshop up in Asbury Park,
Beirut, New Jersey.
Yeah, and there's a beautiful hotel there. It doesn't look like anything from the outside, but in the inside, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I imagine it must have been there. It's been there for a lot of years, but it's not. It was one area that wasn't wheelchair friendly. And, my friend says, do you want me to get you over this? I said, you know what? No. I said, because, I'm going to be in situations where this is going to be my reality. And part of that was that I have to learn how to overcome that. And so what I did was I put a different lens on and I shot, and I got a really cool shot out of it by allowing myself to not have to think about it or get help with it. And the same thing happened with, when we went out and everybody was on the beach and like, yeah, you know what? Sand and wheelchairs don't mix
unless
too well.
You get one of those sandy wheelchairs.
Yeah, and that just wasn't a possibility. But again, I didn't get mad. I was mad because I would love to have gone out on a jetty and shot with the rocks and those flat, and at that point in time, I would have loved to have had a 400 millimeter or something like that to really get nice.
Speaking of 400, we have right behind me, we've got the 600 millimeter. I got 2 of them, and a couple of 500 F4s all sitting right here.
I know, and those are IS2s.
They're the new. I think the 600 goes for what, 13 grand?
Oh my god,
something like that. You could use one of those.
Yeah,
but you know what you'd need to do? That may topple you over in the wheelchair.
You know what? I wouldn't care.
You'd be like, yeah, but you don't want to land on the glass. You'd be like,
I don't want to land on the glass. You know what? I got a footrest. We'll figure out something for that.
Yeah, I think some kind of. Actually, they've got the. What are those things called? The Wimberley plates and I forget the Wimberley arms, and you could use one of those things modified to the chair.
Definitely. And so, but I still, I just had got my 70-200 and I used that on the beach, and I got some really cool shots when I could. I had to shoot around other photographers to sneak my shots in, but I think I did pretty well for that, But again, it's one of those things where, there's always going to be adversity no matter whether you're able-bodied or not. It's a matter of really overcoming and thinking about which way you want to go about doing these things that kind of define you as a creative. Sometimes things don't go the way you want, but you make it what you want. That's part of being creative. Sometimes, you just go a different route to get what you need.
Yeah. Where can people find your work?
JaleelKing.com, JALEEL.com. I'm also on 500 Pics, which I gotta do a better job updating, but really it's so much easier to go from Lightroom to Facebook. So a lot of the the street love stuff that I do really goes up on Facebook, but I'm gonna start transitioning that to my primary site as well. So but those are the main places, and I think I gotta start using Flickr more again. Yeah.
And if you could go and shoot anything or anywhere, what would it be? Where would it be?
Man, what I really would love. I've got this fascination with Japan, so I would love to go and shoot Japan. That's definitely one thing. But I think, I don't know. I'm a bit of I'm one of these people that I love what my eye sees. So I'm attracted to all kinds of things. It could be something as simple as a church sitting in a lonely location, to just people. I love shooting, period. I don't really want to pigeonhole myself necessarily, but like I said, I would love to be able to transition into doing some commercial work and things of that nature. But I don't know. I'm open to just about anything at this stage, and I haven't shot everything to kind of say what I like and what I don't like. I never shot boudoir until the beginning of this year, and I actually kind of liked it.
Are the girls in wheelchairs too?
No, they weren't. But
because girls in wheelchairs and boudoir would be the best website. Don't buy this. Boudoir of wheel. Whatever. I'll stop.
Rolling
there.
boudoir.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, but I thought I would love to try that. I really would love to try that. Some disabled ladies who are, very attractive disabled ladies with boudoir. I would love to do that.
And I bet that's
as a different project. I thought about that, and I really
you can pull it off. Trying
to find the ladies was the difficult part.
Man, I want to change the keyword to like ladies of boudoir. So I want to put out a second one for a phrase of the day. We're gonna put lady. So what should we say? What wheelchair bound ladies of boudoir?
No, we got to give them something sexy than that. Oh,
let's come up with a good one.
We got to come up with something.
Ari, do you
sexy.
have anything? Ari's thinking about it.
We're gonna think about
let's
that
just
one.
The
oh, you know what? How about like something like sexual abilities?
Sexual abilities?
Yeah.
Okay, there's another one. If you guys put up sexual abilities on the Twitter and the Facebook, that's another super phrase for this week. But I love ladies of boudoir also.
Yeah, that too.
You can pull out a whole bunch of different ones.
Come up with something. You know what? How I wonder who can come up with the best one.
Yeah. What are we forgetting? What should it have been for women in wheelchairs doing boudoir? It sounds like a great video. Girls gone boudoir in wheelchairs.
Definitely.
What? Girls Gone Boudoir, Ari? All right, we'll go with
Girls Gone Boudoir.
Girls Gone Boudoir. There you go. Girls Gone Boudoir. Put that on... but it's Girls Gone Boudoir, but it leaves out the wheelchair part. Well, you get it. Girls of Boudoir.
Girls of Boudoir.
Put that up there, and that's a funny... not a funny. That's an interesting concept that I think you should definitely put out there and try to pull off.
I definitely would. And, and I've been around and I've seen some very attractive ladies in wheelchairs. You just don't see them as often, I'm sorry. I've been around and I've seen, I've come across the rare lady in a chair who I thought was very attractive, and I would love to try something like that. You know what I mean?
Bump chairs?
Yeah, bump chairs. Now you done took me there, and now I'm thinking about that Family Guy episode with Stephen Hawking and his wife, and they're both in wheelchairs. It's just like,
woman.
And the whole thing is listen, if you can't laugh at yourself, who are you going to laugh at? And I laugh at myself all the time, so I have no shame.
Well, I remember the first time I met you in here at Allen's. I ask questions. I'm not going to be the person that's going to be like, oh, he's not in a wheelchair, and I want to know more. Like, I want to know, how is this? What does it affect, and all this? I do that with everybody. Like, Ari knows I strike up conversations on trains and planes and automobiles, or just anywhere.
Well, I think it's always important to ask. I mean, because it's better to ask and assume, and what I mean, and it's the whole thing is that you're asking out of ignorance, and in ignorance in a good way, not so much that you're being ignorant about anything, but you may be interested, and some people are more comfortable than others. Me, I feel like I'm an open book. For me, it is what it is. You see the wheelchair in my life, it is what it is for the most part. I'm not perfect, but no one is. But at the same time, I'm glad that I can be of inspiration for somebody, to do whatever it is they feel as though they're lacking or they need the motivation to do, and we all find it. I mean, I find motivation in a lot of things, Zach Aries, when I discovered him, he did that video that went, really viral that included his dad. And for me, that was a motivation because that felt like that was a lot of the things that I was dealing with at the time, with who I am. And I still deal with that. I think a lot of us still deal with who we are and who we want to be, and, and in not being defined by anybody. You know what I mean? But, I have this wheelchair and it helps to define me, but I think it's helping to define me in a good way because of the things that I've had to deal with, and trying to keep a smile on my face with all those things has been difficult. So not every day is a good day, but I have more good than bad.
And that's awesome. No, it's great to know that you were what happened, and you've done a hell of a lot since. And I keep thinking of bumping wheelchairs. So you guys better do the bumping wheelchairs also on Twitter and Facebook, because bumping wheelchairs definitely sounds good. So I thank you for coming out and doing this with us here.
Thank you very much for having me. I so appreciate it.
No, it was, I'll put the video up on the website so people can see that. Grab some work from your site. I'd love to get that photo of you. That black and white photo of you, I'd probably like that for my new loft.
Yeah,
I'd probably like a print of that, because that's what I want my loft to be. I want to have a lot of. I kind of like having my own work there, but I'm starting to pick other people's work that I would like to hang in my place, which is something that I personally need to do so that I see other people's work, and I'd love to get some of your stuff hanging.
Yeah, I'm starting to transition to that as well. There's a local photographer by the name of Michael Penn, who's in Philly, and he does a lot of street photography, and I'm loving his work, and he's another one of those motivators for me too.
Sure.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, you'll find motivation everywhere. You know what I mean? You just have to see it, you know what I mean? And I'm grateful for, a lot of the friends that I have who, you don't think about it, but, I have friends who pull me out the house to go shoot, and I don't mind shooting, you know what I mean? And the whole thing is, if I have somebody who doesn't even know, who's not, a pro photographer, who's a hobbyist, and they want to go out and shoot, all right, let's go. And I'll, if whatever I have knowledge-wise, I'll pass it forward. Why? Because I've had so many people, Jared, who have contributed to me in such a positive way and have given of themselves to get me to where I'm at now, whether it's, helping me pay for something or giving me great advice and taking the time to be honest with me about my work. You know what I mean? So it's, those are the things that I love about people, and, and the great people that I have around me.
There you have it. Jaleel King.
Awesome.
Well, we'll go over it. We'll go over it. Thank you very much. So there you guys have it. That is Raw Talk for this week from Alan's Camera. That's where we did it. Listen for all of those keywords, and that's it. Check out Jaleel's website, and we'll check you guys later. See ya. So we were just sitting here post Raw Talk, and I was thinking of ways that Jaleel can help others and help himself and document what he's doing. And we'll talk about the Zenfolio real quick as a place that you could put your stuff to help sell it,
right?
Because people can come in and buy your work, which will help support you. But we're just thinking of what Jaleel can do, and a blog. I know it sounds simple, but if you have the time and you can dedicate yourself to every time you go out and shoot, you attach a GoPro like we're using right here to your chair. It's going to document your photo shoots. It's going to document your rolling around, the people you meet, and everything. And people are going to want to watch this. They're going to want to see what you're doing. And then you cut in your photos and you put your photos, and people are going to start following you. I mean, that's what I did when I started.
Right.
I just put myself out there. I talked about it. And doing reviews of your wheelchair. Don't do a sniff test of it, though.
Right.
Just do reviews of how you retrofit your chair, the things that work, how you use a Black Rapid for yourself, how you use your think tank bags. And what's going to happen are these companies are going to contact you. They're going to get you gear to play with. It's going to help you out, and it's going to help you help others. So, that's a way you can get what you do out there.
Right.
But you're going to inspire people. You're going to help them realize that, look, you were dealt whatever hand you were dealt, and you've overcome that.
Right.
You've adapted. You've found a way to be successful and have a great mindset. You're happy. You're a very happy guy, I think, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm more happy than anything.
Right. So you have a way to reach people and make that to go along with your photography. Your photography is how you reach people, but then you have a story and you want to tell. And this is true with anybody sitting out there. Everybody has a story. It doesn't matter if you're in the wheelchair or you're not in the wheelchair. Everybody has a story to tell.
Right.
But you can do it. You can tell it. You can blog about it. And you're gonna find that people that aren't even photographers that may have disabilities are going to follow what you're doing and look up to you as the guy who helped them out.
Right.
So
I think that's a good idea. I think I do have to start doing more.
Do you have the time to do that?
I do have the time. It just sometimes it feels overwhelming.
Yeah, and the answer to overwhelming, and it's hyper focus. It's making sure that you stay focused on the thing that you need to do.
Right.
If you try to do 7 things, you're going to get nothing done.
Right.
If you hyper focus on the one thing, you're going to complete it, stay calm, and get it done. I mean, I feel Ari deals with some late night email rants that I send 27 emails in a row because I'm like, I got to do this. Oh, I've got to eat and you just have to make that list, check it twice, Make sure that you haven't been naughty or nice, and
Right.
or naughty and nice, one of them. But just make sure that you stay and you outline it. So, if I was to outline for you what to do, it'd be just get your blog going.
Right.
Whether it's a WordPress blog, somebody, you set it up, and you just sit in front of your camera because you can do video. I mean, that's what I did. I don't know if you write a lot, you can write articles with it, but video, you put it up on YouTube. People are going to find it. You start reviewing stuff, and there you go. You've created. It can be a business, as we all know. You can turn it into something, but you can also start teaching other people. You can go and be a motivational speaker type person. Do you do any of that now?
No, I don't do any motivational speaking.
I don't even think it needs to be motivational. It's just you speaking, and that's somebody's going to take that as a motivational way. So
I mean, I guess you can consider, what happened in the video would be something that's motivational.
I would have liked that video to have been longer.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have it followed you around on the shoot. That's why I'd like to get myself a chair for a day and follow you around in the city and go do a photo shoot out there and see how we see the challenges that are
But you got to make sure your arms are ready for that, buddy.
Have you seen these arms?
Oh, man.
We just worked the arms today.
Listen, man, you got to have them arms ready.
Oh, well, then we'll find out.
Got to have them ready, man, because it's a beast.
All right. Well, that was the extra little bonus. I figured we should share that with everybody as we were just sitting here literally talking about this, and why not record it and put it in as extra?
Yeah, all I want for Christmas is a girlfriend.
You want to bump some wheelchairs?
Yeah, I want to bump some wheelchairs for Christmas.
So where can the ladies contact you?
Oh, they can contact me anywhere they like. No, I'm on Facebook, of course. Twitter, same thing, Jaleel King. But I mean, yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, it can be difficult. Yeah. But I think a lot of it is my learning how to find my own confidence again.
You just roll up and say, "What's going on over here?"
Yeah, how you doing?
Ari, that's for you.
I know, right? It's like my favorite line is so tell me, do you like a man you can push around? So some get it, some don't. I get the whole answer. Well, I don't want a guy I can, oh my God, then you get it later. It's like, oh my God, you're so stupid. Yes, I am. But, so it's always fun.
All right. Well, the next mission is I'm sure there's a Match.com/wheelchair edition.
Yeah, I don't know. I just have fun.
All right. Well,
I'm silly.
We'll make it a mission.
Yeah.
Well, we see a lot. We get a lot of people out there. So if you want to contact Jaleel, contact him. He'll roll you around the city.
How you doing, ladies? I was so silly.
So there you have it. You had the bonus material, the extra talks we had with Jaleel. We were bumping some wheelchairs. That's one of my favorite lines from the show, bumping wheelchairs. You can put that up there on the Twitter sphere and on the Facebook, because who doesn't want to bump wheelchairs with Jaleel? I mean, I'd totally bump wheelchairs with him. But yeah, I see him laughing over there in the corner. So I want to thank Alan. Alan, thank you. Anytime. Alan says anytime. Thank you for letting us sit here in the corner. I didn't get in trouble. Actually, I did get yelled at, but not really. Didn't really get yelled at. So, thanks, Alan. Check him out, allenscamera.com for all your gear. Thank you to Jaleel. Check out his website. I believe it's jaleelking.com, as he said before. And thank you guys once again for listening to this week's Raw Talk. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.